Alrighty, what is going on, ladies and gents? Welcome back to the channel for another market update. Hope everybody had a lovely day. And with that being said, let's dive into the TA. All right, guys. So it is a bank holiday today. It is Veterans Day. Thank you for your service if you were a veteran. But yeah, banks were not active today. We did have low volume on the day, but I do want to point out we had this pullback and then we shot up above yesterday's high. We closed out right underneath the 0.786 fib. Guys, if we could take out 683.60, we're probably going to be making our way up to 689.70. Like I mentioned in yesterday's video, if we take out last week's high at 685.80 here on SPY, we likely are going to go straight to $700 by next week. I am just saying, if you do it this week, you probably are going to get a new all-time high by end of week. If you take out 685.80, expect 690 plus by end of week. So let's go over some levels, guys. But I'm definitely going to say with what DIA is doing over here at the Dow Jones, we are likely going to be pushing into new all-time highs here. SPY and the Dow look like they're going to be leading the way. NASDAQ is lagging a little behind, but yeah, it's holding strong there today, even on your bank holiday when it had the chance to sell this morning. Either way, let's go over the levels we're paying attention to, okay? On the downside, guys, you're going to have 682.18, 678.73, which is today's low. Neat there, guys. That's right at the 9 EMA on the daily time frame. We're just going to be watching the 21 EMA, okay, which is around 674. On the upside, you have 683.60, 685.80, 689.70, and then we're going to $700. That's SPY. Coming over to QQQ, guys, okay? You're pinned in between the 0.618 fib and the 21 EMA today. If you take out yesterday's low, 616.89, you have 613.18, and then 609.95 is a gap that's left open from below. On the upside, you have 624.31, yesterday's high. Above there, 626.69. Then you have the 0.786 fib around 628.80. Get above 628.80, you're on your way back up to all-time highs. Now, like I pointed out, DIA, guys, the Dow Jones Industrial Average over here looks like it wants to break out the new all-time highs as soon as tomorrow. I just want to say, you know, this is what I think SPY's weekly candle is probably going to be doing this week. I do. The more I look at this weekly chart here, the more I think if you take this out, you're going to go straight to $700, maybe 705, 710 by next week. I will not be surprised to see this weekly candle just go a little bit higher, get over last week's high, and all of a sudden you have one of these guys. And yeah, we're up there around 695 to end the week. DIA is exactly what that would look like. Yeah, you know, it would, if we guys, I'm just saying, you know, markets do want to climb here. We likely are going to continue climbing. I'm also going to talk about, it's going to be a bit of a shorter video here, but I'm going to jump right after this. I'm going to go right into Apple. Okay, so we're going to talk about some of the Mag 7 stocks, the Magnificent 7 stocks, but I'm just going to talk about Apple, Google, Amazon. I'm going to point out Nvidia puts came in right into close here. You know, a ton of them, just about $10 million onto 1121. I think it was 185C or 175C. We had... Yeah, right over here. I don't know if you could see that. But yeah, you know, these started coming in right into the close there. Hey, all right, do with that information what you will, whatever you want. I would just say, hey, Nvidia is not looking as good as SPY over there. I wouldn't be surprised to see it fall tomorrow. But at the same time, you know, I'm going to point out Apple right over here, guys. This could be a breakout trade that you're taking tomorrow. No financial advice will be given on this channel, but yeah, you could point out to, or you could look back and just see here the last 5 breakouts, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 that happened, you know, over the past few months here along this move up you've had. Yeah, they've led to, you know, that first day move. It is a, you know, 4 to 5 point move. So I'm going to be looking for that tomorrow. And then if you just give it 2 sessions here, I'm going to point out that all of them are over 5 points, 5 to 15 points. Okay. This one right there. Okay. And then this one right here. And, you know, the total move right here, it was 12 points. But yeah, you know, a 2-day move. This was the stats for, you know, in 2 sessions here. I'm not sure if it's going to be a massive breakout move like that or if we just go 5 points above this high. But either way, you know, I'm going to be looking within 2 sessions here. I'm looking for that 5-point move. On the 11/21 expiration calls, you could play the 280C and they will go just about 100% on that 5-point move. Now, I do want to point out on one of these occurrences, you got just as close as you did today, and you did not break out. You actually had the same thing happen over here. So this is 2 of these occurrences where you got just as close as you did today, and you did not break out. So, you know, the safest entry point, if you want to avoid a false breakout here, you are literally just going to wait until price breaks above the current high here, which is 277.32. You can see over here, when you know, had sellers step in right there at 241.32 right before you broke out, you did not take out that high. So I want you, you know, you had a high here of 241.22. You did not get up to 241.32. Just set the alert for 277.32. If that hits tomorrow, that is how you know what I'm talking about. This trade is in motion here. This could be easy money, an easy 100% gainer over here. I'm not sure how much, you know, how high we're going to be going this week, but you could see 2 of those moves, you did end up, you know, within 2 sessions there, you had almost a 15-point move, just about there. And over here, you did get a 15-point move in 2 sessions of that breakout happening. So this is definitely, you know, this is going to be a nice trade over here that, you know, I'm just putting on your radar beforehand. It does look like here on the weekly time frame that this is going to be busting a move in the short term. And it looks like, you know, just like I was pointing out, DIA, SPY over here, you have that look where it looks like the weekly candle is going to expand. And, you know, if SPY is going to do what I'm thinking, yeah, it's going to look just like how DIA is over here. And then by end of week, yeah, you're breaking out to a new all-time high. And yeah, I assume NASDAQ is going to follow. Okay. But yeah, that's Apple. I just wanted to really, you know, start the video off with that right over here. Just put this right in the front. It is something that's likely going to be breaking out tomorrow, but there is a chance it's just going to consolidate for a few sessions there before doing so. And that's a possibility, but the weekly candle looks like it's going to expand above 277.32. The 284.99 level is derived from the earnings spike you had right over here. So that was your earnings high right there, 284.99. I know I'm talking about a 5-point move, but this is kind of something that suggests to me, hey, all right, chances are we get more than that 5-point move. I think we might get that 15-point move. I think we will be getting up to 284.99. It makes sense. And if that becomes the case, I think we go 290 plus, and that is about that 14, 15-point move there. So, yeah, nice trade that can happen into end of week. Let's talk about another one that might be getting a breakout into end of week here, okay? So you did make a new all-time high here on Google today. You broke above that 286.29 level yesterday, and, you know, today you had the gap down, but you recovered it, and you made the new all-time high. The weekly candle has the same look to it, okay, where it looks like it's going to be expanding this week into end of week. You have, you know, 3 more sessions here. Let's see what happens. But above 291.93, all right, you have 300, which happens to be right, again, just like Apple, right at that earnings spike high. Okay, so that's Google over there, GOOG. And then we have Amazon, which hit it with the break and retest off of 242.52. Now you're basing out right underneath 250.50. It also looks like it can get a pop, maybe into end of week if SPY and QQ want to start gunning it for new highs. But yeah, we'll see what happens, guys. I'm pretty sure the government's going to be reopening this week if that becomes the case. I think, you know, with how I'm saying SPY is set up there, I'm thinking we just go straight to all-time highs this week. So, yeah, you know, I'd imagine Amazon goes with it. But, you know, honestly, full disclosure, I was looking for this thing to pull back this week, you know, second week, back into this area. And, you know, that would have been nice. It just would have been more sound there. But, hey, anything can happen. If the market's going to be moving up, it's probably going to fall. Okay. And then Nvidia, like I was pointing out, we just had, you know, all those calls coming in, 11/21 expiration. You know, just about 10 million just came in right before the close there. There were more after that picture, you know, I shared there. But yeah, you know, this is something that definitely does not look as good as SPY and QQQ today. And I wouldn't be surprised maybe someone does know something over there on NVIDIA. And hey, maybe that means you get a gap up. Maybe NVIDIA takes it down tomorrow because obviously NVIDIA is the market at this point. That is how that is. All right. Now, we're going to talk about open. Okay, we're on to some trade ideas. I told you guys it was going to be a quick one. Open, I think it's go time over here. I think we're probably going to break 855 this week. I mean, we technically did today. You have a high of 862. I think this weekly candle is going to expand. In the last, few moves, they had 2 weeks that they're moving. So this is going to be a multi-week move that I think takes us above this 1087 high and can take us to 1344. But I really like how the monthly is coming together over here. It's really shaping up. Okay, if we get this push like I'm thinking over the next 2 weeks, that takes us right into the end of the month. And as long as it doesn't fall flat on its face the last week of November there, this is going to close out with a very nice monthly candle. And I'd imagine the next one might do some cool things as well. Either way, I'm calling for a multi-week move here. I think it's starting up right here where we are. You have a hammer off of the weekly 21 EMA, break above 855. You have 969, 1087, and then 1344, which is where you broke down from right over here after your IPO. Okay. But yeah, daily is really, it's coming together there. The daily cloud just ended up flipping green. The last time it happened, it was a little fake out, and we found out within like 2 to 3 sessions here. We have 3 sessions to end a week. Well, we'll know by end of week if this is another fake out move, and this will completely reverse the move and probably close out with a red candlestick. If it closes out with the green weekly candlestick though, which I'm assuming it's going to push further into end of week, maybe we do get 10 plus this week. Yeah, and next week, it kind of tells us next week is when we should be looking for that breakout move to 12 to 13 bucks. GS, okay, I mentioned this one in yesterday's video. This is, it got its breakout today. So got its breakout above 807.14 here. Next stop is 825.25. Pretty sure it's going to go above there. But yeah, this is, a decent amount of consolidation. After you broke out of this consolidation, you kind of just retested the highs of that previous consolidation there where you broke out from. You didn't go anywhere. So yeah, I think you're about to start your next little leg up over here on GS. Congrats if you gone a bit early there. But yeah, I think it's going to be moving nice. 4-hour daily, weekly coming together. Lift, okay. This looks beautiful. It looks really beautiful, guys. It's probably going to be having this next leg up into 25.74, and I think it can happen by end of week. Yes, I think it definitely can. Over here, the week of the breakout, you had a decent move, okay, and that's really the only breakout we have to go off of. But after that move, you hit it with the retest off of that breakout level, okay, and you base there for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks, and then you start pushing up. Monthly and weekly look sick, and yeah, I think this thing might be on its way to 30 plus, and I think it's just now starting to move again. All right, so that is Lyft, L-Y-F-T. KO, Coca-Cola, guys. We talked about it showing strength last Friday and then the other day, okay, yesterday. I'm just going to say this is probably going to pull back right here, okay, or continue a little higher and then pull back. But I want you guys to look at the higher time frame. The weekly and monthly suggest this is probably on its way back up to all-time highs. This move up to highs is likely about to take place over probably the next 2 weeks in this monthly candle. I think it's probably going to get up to, 73.50. Maybe it doesn't break 74.38 all-time high. But yeah, this is definitely getting ready for a larger move. Just like you had this move over here. See how it broke down before? Maybe it does break down like it did be over there. And that would look like, you'd push the top end of the range just like you did over here. And you'd fail that. All right, and then you fail, and then you go like that, and then you just keep going. Or you could do what I'm thinking it's going to be doing, which, you're taking out these equal highs right there. Looks like, if you do that, this monthly candle is probably going to get up to highs, okay? And then on the daily, you guys can also see that, yeah, you got a, nice cup and handle pattern going on here. Pull back to the moving averages, now breaking out the new highs. Up until here, just look, this is a lower high compared to here, lower high compared to here, lower high compared to here. You have a series of lower highs. And over here was the first equal high to this high. And then you pull back to form your little handle action. And now you're breaking out. And now you have another equal high that's likely about to turn into a higher high. So yeah, KO is turning around over here. I think it's going to be moving back to all-time highs. I think we can watch it over the coming weeks, or watch it for multiple trades. I think you're going to get a lot of opportunities over here on this name. It likes having its pullbacks on a day-to-day basis. All right, but yeah, I would say it's probably going to 72.45. Then watch for a pullback into 70.90 to 71.61 again. Watch for the moving average to catch up to price over there, and then look for that next leg up into 73.53. Okay, that's KO. LMND, Lemonade, guys. I think this thing's going to be making our move into end of week. We're looking for the breakout above 81.90. We're looking to take it up to 90 plus that same day, actually. But we're going to say the next 1 to 2 sessions. I'm looking for that move. I think that weekly candle is going to look a lot bigger than how it does right now if you take out 81.90 by end of week. Okay. IBM. It's queuing up for a breakout move to all-time highs, 319.35, guys. It hasn't broken out yet, but it looks like it's about to do it over the coming sessions. Watch for it above 319.35. You're going to be targeting 330 plus. And yeah, that's IBM. You have a break and retest, perfect break and retest off previous all-time highs. And the exact moment you bounced off of the previous all-time high there, you also just about tested the 21 EMA. Doesn't get much better than this. You got a little inverse head and shoulders action going on right there. And yeah, it's looking like a nice move is brewing over here. IBM into end of week. Next one is SOFI. Okay, SOFI also looks like a nice move is loading here into end of week. You have a bunch of this consolidation. You had the failed breakout. You then had the failed breakdown. And now you're pushing back up. If you take out last week's high at 31.22, I think this is going to push 32.57 into end of week, and I think it's finally ready for 35 plus. That is SoFi. Okay. CrowdStrike, guys. I think this weekly candle is going to expand here. I think you got a little more oomph in this guy over here. I think we're getting still 575 to 580. I think it is loading over here on Crowd. I'm going to keep it on the radar. I'm out of Crowd, but let's just look at it this way. This thing loves to have its pullbacks. I think if you get this move into the 9 EMA, it's going to keep getting bought. And that right there creates your little buffer. Okay, you don't have to just play the breakout on this name. You could wait to get in on that. And then boom, that's your 10 to 15 point buffer. And you could be up a decent amount on your contracts if you're an options trader. Next one's going to be XPEV. XPEV had a big breakout recently. We were pointing out in this pennant. It now has broken out above 27.16. Pointed out in yesterday's video that if you break 27.16 this week, I think it's going straight to 30 bucks. That's why that gray level is right there. We put it on in yesterday's video. Yeah, I still think that's going to be the case. I think it happens before earnings, which are next Monday. I think before the bell, but I'm not sure. It might be after the bell. Walmart. Pointed out last week is bouncing off of the weekly 21, just like you did the last 1, 2, 3, 4 tests along this run. Didn't get a significant breakout move. So if it was going to be moving back up, that was going to be the early entry point. And now it looks like it wants to move back up. I'm expecting this weekly candle to expand. I think you're going to test 105.30 this week. Either way, it's something that I think you could focus on. And it's likely going to be moving up. Okay, dips are going to be bought. I expect that to be the case over here. But honestly, my favorite ones, guys, we're talking Apple for tomorrow. Open, okay? GS, Lyft, I think it's a swing over there. KO, you got the strength on the pullback. Lemonade with the 81.90 breakout. Okay, IBM looks like it is brewing for a big move. We know this thing could move. All right, even if it's something like just a 10-point move into end of week, that could pay. Okay, SoFi, it looks great. Crowd on pullbacks, they look great. Walmart, I'm just going to say, okay, I don't trust this guy. I don't. I also know you got earnings next week, but I have to assume you're going to rally into earnings with how it's set up. Okay, you got Rivian going a little bit bananas, guys. I would not be touching it up here. It's 17% above its 9 EMA at this point. 18% now into close. 1886, that's the big breakout level. If you can break out there or reject right there in the short term, come retest this area, pull back into the daily moving averages, that's when I think it's good to get involved on this name. I would not just be blindly buying into this. It has, had continuous failed moves over here. You took out this high ever so slightly. Well, now you're over this high ever so slightly. It does look like it's going to be different this time. Just look at it. It looks pretty beautiful. But yeah, a bigger move is starting over here. I'm just, pitching ideas on how to catch a safer entry over there than buying 18% above the daily 9 EMA, which we just know stocks like to revert back to the mean. It's like you had this big ass move over here, 23%. What happened the next 2 days? Well, the 9 EMA caught up with price. Let's see if you get the pullback days over here, okay? But yeah, it already had a sick move on the week. Wouldn't be surprised to see it break 1886 this week. I just would think, ideally you get that pullback. for moving averages to catch up. But yeah, it could be finally turning around over here. Now, I'm not talking about the fundamental thesis on the company. I'm talking about the chart over here. It's turned around, which maybe that means the fundamentals are going to be turned around. We'll see what happens, okay? It's probably a catalyst I'm missing over here that's starting this move. But that is Rivian. Now, I just want to say, APP, guys, it fully reversed yesterday's move. It's no longer one to pay attention to. I just want to speak on that. It fully recovered the sell it had, and then it fully dumped, and it lost the recovery. I would not be touching this name. This name is playing games. You fully reversed the weekly candle now. To fix that weekly candle, you know, at best case scenario, you're really looking at a doji 10 the week. And yeah, at that point, it's up in the air if you come back down to the weekly 21 or not. If you do come back down to the weekly 21, that's when it's worth getting involved down here, in my opinion. But yeah, until that becomes the case, I don't think it's worth touching this name. I just thought I'd share my opinion on that because we have been talking about that guy. And it had a big recovery yesterday, but now, yeah, you know, it completely gave that back. So there's that. Okay, guys, and that's what I have for you today. I do think Open and Apple, those are the things in the short term that I'm pretty confident are going to be making these big moves, especially Apple if it could get that 277.32 breakout tomorrow or sometime this week. I'm thinking it gives a decent move to 281 minimum, up to 284.99 to 290. I do think it's coming. All right. But yeah, with that being said, guys, I hope everybody had a lovely day today, and I hope you have a lovely day tomorrow. I hope you crush it tomorrow, and I will catch you in the next one. Peace.